Aleximo. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round one of the Crush Card Cup. Probably going to be the largest event we're going to have going on during the lockdown and quarantine. I'm Aleximo, joined by Mr. MBT Yu-Gi-Oh! Joseph Rothschild himself, and we have one of your first round one feature matches here featuring Thomas Rose playing Burning Abyss, as a matter of fact, one of his signature decks, going up against Matthew playing Adamancipator. And big shoutouts to all of our sponsors for providing this insane prizing for this 12-man free tournament, Ultimate Guard, Project CCG, and We Play Games. Be sure to check out their links down in the description for all your Yu-Gi-Oh! Card needs. So, we got a lot to talk about Adamancipator, don't we, Joseph?
Oh, for sure. Adamancipator, I would say, is the breakout deck of the last couple of weeks. People have been refining builds, trying to figure out a way to make the deck as competitive as people know it can be, and the one way they've landed on is the Adamancipator monsters, a series of rock-type monsters that really enable some extremely powerful plays, early rank 4s, really strong searchers like Adamancipator, and recursive monsters in the form of Dododo Dwarf, Go 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 Glove, and I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah, that card is just rather incredible. We're going to see this Adamancipator get parried with an Ash Blossom, so to speak. But
that was a great one.
That wasn't it? Yeah, and so just being able to search the Dododo Dwarf Go 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 Glove, and then that card just allows you to set up for all of your rank 4 plays, which then gets you into Gallant Granite, a card I knew would see play one day. Too good not to. We just had to have the right deck for it, and what better than a deck that plays every good rock monster in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, you can't print a card that says, this searches Block Dragon, and have it be non-problematic forever. You know, there's gonna come a point in time when that's a top-tier threat.
Right, and so now we're going to see the Adamancipator monsters for the first time. So for people unfamiliar, what these cards do is essentially the Seeker, the Researcher, and the Analyzer all allow you to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can special summon an excavated level 4 or lower non-tuner rock monster of those cards, and then you put the rest on the bottom of your deck. And it's cool because essentially multiple will just trigger one after another and just kind of cascade into this form of advantage here. We saw Matthew summoning Doki Doki, as a matter of fact, which is basically tour guide for rock monsters, go figure. And now we're going up into Needle Fiber.
So one thing that really shocks me about Adamancipator is just how resilient the deck is to interaction. I mean, these were the two biggest choke points. Thomas got a 2-for-1 in Adamancipator and a 2-for-1 in terms of Doki Doki discarding the Go 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 Glove. And still, it looks like Mike is walking into a huge combo, setting up here for a Block Dragon summon.
And now Block Dragon, again, one of the key cards. Honestly, this could be one of the cards if this deck ever does get touched. Block Dragon has had some crosshairs on it for quite some time now, but never was seen in this just powerful of a deck. I mean, I know Kevin's gonna go after me because of Gem Knights, but
sorry, Coder, but Gem Knight FTK is not necessarily a deck that I want to keep in the metagame forever.
So Matthew's going to go ahead and get the Researcher here and the Seeker, as well as the Gigantes. Those do all equate to level 8. Gigante is just another extender. Researcher, I don't even think he's used this turn, so if he has a way to get that to the board, that is still going to be online. We're going to go for Gigantes, though. Then special summon the Researcher, because it can be special summoned if you control rock monster, except another copy of Researcher. And now here we go again. We go digging. Can I just say, I love the flavor of this deck. You get to dig for rocks. It's so cool.
You don't often see Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetypes that actually do what the cards look like, but a series of miners excavating the top of your deck to find rocks, I mean, that's hilarious.
So we're going to hit a Drygite off of that Researcher. That's going to allow Matthew to draw a card. And now we're going to go into Adamancipator Risen Raptite, one of the in-archetype synchros here. It's just going to do another excavating effect here. We're going to get to special summon any of those rock monsters, which is pretty strong. And this is exactly what Matthew's doing right now. I mean, the fact he's played through not only Thomas Rose's Ash Blossom, but a Lost Wind. Thomas Rose, we haven't really talked about him much because Matthew's just going off here. Playing more of a trap-oriented build of Burning Abyss instead of the combo-heavy one. So already playing through 2 pieces of Disruption and seems to be completely unfazed by it whatsoever.
Yeah, you saw a summon of the Adamancipator Analyzer off of the Raptite there. Raptite is the only one of the Adamancipators who doesn't have the condition that it has to be a non-tuner. Putting the Raptite in defense mode, I guess forgetting that it's actually turn 2, I could have forgotten as well with only one set card out of Thomas.
Yeah, so that was 2,200 damage missed there by Matthew. Again, not the end of the world, but there's an evenly matched. Okay, so that can be negated here by the Adamancipator Risen Dragite, though.
Unfortunately, I don't actually think it can. You need to have a water monster in the graveyard. Does he have, in fact, the Dragite?
He has the Dragite, because he hit it off of the researcher earlier. But a second evenly matched, though, makes it that it's completely irrelevant anyway.
Great, excellent. Sometimes you have it. Well, the frustrating part about evenly matched is if you have a token, you gotta banish down to that. You don't get to pick. Tokens, of course, cannot be banished face down, so that's gotta be your selection.
Right, and so it looks like that's exactly what Matthew's doing now. It looks like the players are correcting that. If you don't see them talking in the chat, most likely these players got into a Skype or Discord call just to make it easier for them to communicate. And here we go, bringing Block Dragon back. This card is not once per turn for its summoning condition, which, if it couldn't be any better than it already is.
Actually not that big of a deal. This was a huge loss for Mike, but Block Dragon will be able to add, if it goes to the graveyard, every single part of the Adamancipator combo next turn, the Analyzer, the Researcher, and the Seeker, because hilariously, they add up to 8.
Now, here comes a Doki Doki. What is crazy, though, about Block Dragon is that if you are able to, playing this Adamancipator deck, if you're able to end with, let's say, something like IP Masquerena and revive your Block Dragon, you can use that Block Dragon as material to make something like Nightmare Unicorn or whatever you wish, then trigger Block Dragon on your opponent's turn and generate those +3s. So that's where this card starts to get a little bit sketchy.
Block Dragon's already unfair. Triggering Block Dragon on your turn and your opponent's turn, even less fair.
So here comes a trap trick from Thomas Rose here. This would be lethal, but he doesn't have anything that's going to save him. So it looks like we're actually just going to go to game 2. Wow, okay, so...
That's really surprising to me.
Yeah, I thought so too. I was thinking there could be the potential for him to go for something like, I don't know if he's playing Dinomicious or anything like that, but that could have been
exactly
something to potentially...
what I was thinking. Paleozoic Dinomicious seems fantastic in this deck.
Right, but maybe at that point Thomas would have no cards in hand because he would have to discard, so maybe he just didn't think he'd have the follow-up, so he just wanted to concede and go to game 2. But here we go, going with the actual Burning Abyss half of his deck that we get to see. So we're starting off with an Alec and then a Skarm going into our good old boy Dante here.
Oh, putting it in the main monster zone. We fought so hard for it to sit in in anywhere but the EMZ. How dare you?
So he did... See, we did hit an Absolute King Backjack here, which is pretty nice. So Thomas is going to do a bit of excavating of his own to a degree. He's going to get to rearrange the top cards of his deck. Also playing Karma Cut, interestingly enough.
Karma Cut, that's a throwback. You've got to be on Paleozoic Dinomicious if you're on Karma Cut, but wow.
Absolutely.
Just an incredible card from years past that people kind of forgot about, and now that Banishing is at a premium again, maybe it walks away with a Block Dragon hit.
So here comes just Dante set to pass. We're going to get a Farfa here off of the Skarm end phase search. Is this going to be enough to combat the threat of Adamancipator? We're going to find out. So Analyzer's going to kick things off here.
Dante set to pass. It's like it's Duelist Alliance all over again.
It's a bit crazy because now Burning Abyss has just become this heavy combo deck as of late, just to spam out Appaloosa and Fossil Dyna and all this stuff. Funny enough, playing Block Dragon, being colloquially known as Block Dragon BA for quite some time, but now we're kind of slowing things down.
This is extremely ironic that the matchup is between the best Block Dragon archetype and the second best Block Dragon archetype.
So this is interesting here. So Tom is going to use Dinomicious, banish the Dragite, and then pitch Farfa. Farfa then will trigger being able to banish the Analyzer.
Oh, I love this. Oh,
but now here,
there's Doki Doki.
Yeah, Doki Doki is still able to come out here because it can be special summon, but Thomas with the Ash Blossom to stop that. But now we get to see a special summon of Researcher. This is one of the reasons why people are so hyped about Adamancipator right now, is because look at how many disruptions Tom just threw at the deck, and it was still able to play through it.
Yeah, it's rough. Unfortunately, in Adamancipator, the choke point isn't any individual monster activation. It's the fact that they have a rock on their side of the field at all. It enables you to special a Researcher, special something like a Seeker, and from there, you can just go wild.
Well, to Thomas Rose's defense, at the very least, he, by using the Dinomicious in combination with the Farfa, he was able to remove the rocks on the field initially, but Matthew just happened to have not only the Doki Doki, but he had the Researcher, and he also now has the Adamancipator Signs, the in-archetype Monster Reborn. In addition to all of that, that is just, he just has it all.
I mean, sometimes you draw the nuts, and no deck draws the nuts like this one. So many of its pieces are so mutable. It's got so many 2-for-1s in the form of the Onomat monsters. I mean, it's hard to make a case for this deck not being as strong as people had originally feared.
So it looks like Matthew only hitting the Dododo Dwarf Go 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 Glove off of the Researcher here, which is fine. I mean, it's still another monster. He has Link 4 worth of material already on the board, so we're going to see where he takes it now. Going to go for Raptite, which can just help him extend even further at this point.
And we're really looking for something that'll turn on the Go 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 Glove in the graveyard, getting back the Lost Wind, but of course it won't be able to be activated this turn. We've got just a little bit of time to figure out what we're doing.
So only hitting a Raptite, and so Raptite won't be able to activate because he already used it previously to... Oh, he did use it this turn, correct? Because that was what he got... Dragite, excuse me. That's what got banished off of the Dino-Mishes. So he's not really going to get another draw. Could you imagine if Dragite wasn't hard once per turn?
Oh, I'd be playing Adamancipator FTK. There'd be a way.
I think a lot of people would be. I think there actually does exist an Adamancipator FTK with Gem Knights. If Distant Coder hasn't already figured it out, then I'm sure.
A little bit of spoiler for your tournament, but it's actually 2-0 currently.
Yeah, it's we're gonna have to see if we can bring that deck to a feature match a little bit later on.
Please no, please no.
So during the end phase, Analyzer is going to return to the field via Farfa's effect, and so Tom not looking in the best of positions here, but we're going to have to see what he does. Getting a graph off the top, that's pretty good.
Wow. Choice. Unfortunately, attack position graph doesn't do a ton here. I suppose these will soon be linking away.
I imagine you could link off. You could make Cherubini graph can trigger to get Seer. And
Cherubini's
then,
two level 3 monsters, right?
Oh yeah, it's level 3. You're right. Yeah, so that's not even a play. So it looks like we're just going straight to battle phase. So we're going to attack using graph over the Needle Fiber, and then Dante is also going to attack over the Analyzer. And now we're just going to link off here, go into a Masquerade. Okay, that's fine. And then Graph can get Seer. Seer will immediately pop itself, get Dante back. So then you have a possible Link 3 play. Oh, going to go for Skarm here. Okay. Oh, he is... Okay, that was off of the Dante.
Yeah.
Correct. So now we're going to see the Dante resurrect off the Seer, which then destroyed itself. We're going to upgrade into Beatrice. Okay, that's perfectly fine.
This is kind of dope. Now we get to Masquerena if necessary. We've got fodder in hand if we want to make a Nightmare Unicorn. I really like where this has ended up.
Yeah, Tour Guide's the follow-up for next turn. You have Lost Wind to negate at least one of the effects. I mean, Matthew doesn't really have a lot going on for him aside from just having that Raptite in hand or on field. So, I mean, we do get to see the Risen come back, but, I mean, that's only Link 2 worth of material. Drawing the O-Lion's not bad.
One of the things that specifically Adamancipator struggles with is a lot of the combo plays are not concentrated in the main deck, but in the extra. And when you are out of targets, things like the Halkafibrax in the extra, the easy link-offs, suddenly it's very hard to assemble competent synchro boards without them. So though he's only at 13 cards in the extra deck, those 2 missing cards might be all the difference.
Right, so now Farfa's going to remove the Mecha Fanabeast Lion from the board. And now we're going to get that Seer back because Dante hit the graveyard. And now Masquerena is going to trigger. We can go into Unicorn. Unicorn can spin back Raptite. And then we can pitch Seer. Oh, no, going to go for Cerberus, interestingly enough.
Sure,
and,
pretty much
just
the
pop
exact
it that
same.
way. Essentially, yeah. It's actually maybe a little bit better because now he's not going to be able to have another copy. Do they typically play only one Raptite or do they play 2?
So Raptite can actually be recycled to the extra deck if you've got a Wind in the graveyard. And as a result, they usually only play 1.
But it looks like that was enough to end Matthew's turn, actually. And so now plays back to Thomas Rose here. And this could be the turn that turns things around because now we're going to see Tour Guide coming down. If I'm correct, I don't think these Adamancipator decks play hand traps at all. Maybe Nibiru might be the only one because they play rocks.
Wow, this is an easy link away into Boral Sword.
Right, exactly. This could just be game in and of itself right here. Granted, there is that Raptite in defense mode, so we will have to clear that. But as long as there's like a Farfa or a way to kind of just easily remove that from the board, we could just have game here. Possibly even under 4 summons as well to be able to play around in a potential Nibiru.
It's so frustrating that Adamancipator main decks Nibiru.
Well, it's a rock. Why wouldn't you?
I know it's a rock. It just... losing to it is the absolute worst feeling in the universe. Whoa,
So Thomas
that's not Boral Sword.
That's Bomber Dragon, though, so that's interesting. So now Seer's going to come back to hand from Dante hitting the graveyard. And now this will be a way for Thomas Rose to clear the board. Foolish Burial, that was off the top. That's pretty good.
Oh, he's on Barbar. God, I love this deck.
He's playing Pure BA. Of course you're going to be on Barbar. So we're going to banish 3, deal 900 damage to Matthew here. And we're just going to go to battle phase. Tour Guide's going to hit over the Mecha Phantom Beast Olion. And Bomber Dragon will be able to deal 3k damage here in and of its own right. So that's pretty cool.
I don't think that's true. It inflicts damage equal to the monster's attack, which is 0 in this case.
Oh, correct. If it's in attack mode, excuse me. That's what I'm thinking. Because if it's in attack, it should always do 3k.
Well, if you don't have lethal this turn, this is actually hilarious. You pretty easily can summon things at Link Point, almost at will in Burning Abyss. And if that's the case, you can blow up your opponent's board, even by activating the Lost Wind and then bringing back a Paleozoic from the graveyard.
Oh, and here we go. We're going to backjack off the top here, hitting Fiend Griefing. Oh, my God. Talk about a throwback. Fiend Griefing and Burning Abyss. Oh, my God. Do you remember when this card was first released and people thought Burning Abyss was, like, definitively the best deck in the game?
And they were right. No, Fiend Griefing is a heck of a card that sees criminally little play. Glad to see that it's being put to good use, and glad to see it off a blind backjack as well.
So here we go, Bomber Dragon gonna hit over the Go 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 Gigas, another just extender for this deck, and then Tour Guide gonna clean up, and then we're gonna set a monster and pass. I mean, Thomas Rose just playing the control game here, but he's just winning on card advantage that he's able to play that. I mean, Lost Wind can pretty much deal with any threat. We saw that Michael put a set card in the same column as the Lost Wind. We can presume that might be an infinite impermanence to possibly stop that if he does get a combo piece, but only a couple...
2 cards in hand is not enough to assemble a combo, even with a Gigas in graveyard.
Exactly, you read my mind right there. But there is a Seeker, so, I mean, if anything's going to get it started, it could be this.
Prove us wrong.
Oh, and Solemn Judgment will stop it. Not going to impermanence that anytime soon. And that's going to do it for Game 2. Okay, Game number 3, ladies and gentlemen. Burning Abyss versus Adamancipator. This has been a good set. I've liked it.
For sure. I love that Adamancipator is just this completely 2020 deck. It moves at 10,000 miles an hour and does just about everything through almost every single piece of disruption. And the Burning Abyss deck Thomas is playing is firmly rooted in 2015. T-set pass, summon Dante, Paleozoic Dynamicious go, and yet he looks to be in a commanding position for Game 3 provided he can draw an Equalizer.
Okay, so we're going to use Analyzer here. Analyzer hitting a bunch of targets. We're going to go specifically for the Dododo Dwarf Go 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 Glove. That does give him 2 level 4s to make the Gallant Grant to get his Block Dragon and get things going here. But also gives him the ability to bring back Go 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 Gigas as well. So
frustrating. This downside is that you don't get your battle phase, but turns out you don't care about that on turn 1.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter too much there, but now we're going to get to see Gallant Granite himself. I love that this card's seeing play. It's so great.
It's such a silly card art, too. It's like, yeah, so it's a statue. That's the whole joke. Ooh, and adding Researcher. This is the non-block dragon target you occasionally add because it can be summoned when you have a rock on field, which Granite fulfills the condition for.
All right, so now we're going to go into a Raptite here. Oh, the Barkion!
Whoa!
What?
Oh, my God.
Okay, I was not expecting that. That's an interest. They don't. Do they normally play Barkion in this deck?
Absolutely not. A space in the extra is extremely tight. I don't know how he's found room to include Barkion of all things.
Wow.
I guess walking into established boards of like Altergeist or Guru or Eldritch means that sometimes you gotta dip into the pool of playable synchros, but I didn't think you'd be dipping that deep.
Well, with Thomas Rose's trap-heavy Burning Abyss deck, Barkion could prove to be effective here if we don't have a way to clear it. Going into Needle Fiber now, or Halifibrax for all of you purists out there. But we're going to grab that O-Lion from the deck, and so now Barkion's going to just allow Matthew to just continue to do everything that he wants. We're going to get Gigantes off by banishing Doki Doki, and we're just going to go off here. Raptite's going to trigger off of the extra deck. This is going to be a good turn here.
For sure. I mean, honestly, as much as I'm making fun of Barkion, it kind of does seem like it wins the game. You know, the way that Thomas gets back in is with something like an evenly matched. You saw in game 1 he was able to chain 2 together. Barkion, I I believe is not a once per turn. It's as many times as you've got cards in the graveyard.
Yeah, it's pretty much Nat Beast except for trap cards. So yeah, it's going to be able to take care of any of those trap cards that Thomas may have to potentially stop the Adamancipator player's plays. Now we're going to go ahead and link off here for that Appaloosa 4-3. So not only does it have to deal with Barkion, but Burning Abyss being a pretty effect monster-based deck, that's going to be a tough one. I'm really curious to see how Thomas gets out of this one. I'm going to special summon the Researcher now because we do control a rock.
Oh, another Dodo Dwarf. Sheesh.
Yeah, so we're going to hit Go Giant this time around.
Go Giant is absolutely the worst of the Go-Go-Go's that you're playing. You're on Go Giant, Gigas, Dodo Dwarf, and also Utopic Onomat. And every time I see Giant summoned, I'm reminded just how miserable this archetype is without help.
Oh my god, and now the Abyss Dweller here. This is like the nail in the coffin plus a set card. Now, this is a board. If Thomas Rose can come back from this is
notably,
what beats
Lightning Storm beats this board.
I was just about to say, if he has Lightning Storm, but he's gonna lead with Skarm. So, okay, that's gonna be allowed.
Wow, I think I would just be negating Burning Abysses. I say, hey, go for it.
I mean, you have Dweller up, so like, I don't know. I mean, like, and plus these won't even trigger in Graveyard anyway because you special summon them. So, okay, we're going for a rank 3 here. There's the boy himself.
Yeah, and Dante here does send for cost. Boy, is that frustrating to Appaloosa. He's got a negate, so it can't just walk.
He hit Farfa, but, I mean, Dweller's online right now, so that's not even going to matter. How is he going to play through this?
It's gonna be a multiple turn investment. Okay, here comes Beatrice, and yeah, this is the only scenario I'm afraid of. If I have an Appaloosa on board, I can't imagine letting those original Burning Abysses resolve and potentially get into a Beatrice without any effect activations.
Right, and now Beatrice can just walk over this Appaloosa here, potentially.
It can walk over the Barkion.
He can crash it into the Barkion. And now he's going to be able to get,
Yup.
Oh, and then evenly match at the end of the battle phase!
Yup. Wow, just absolutely sickening.
Oh my god! That is incredible! So the whole board is going to get lost now. We're going to keep the Raptite as our choice. Interesting. And now Thomas Rose just gets to go here, and we're going to see... I believe the Dante should still trigger... Oh, no, Dweller's up. Never mind. Dweller's still active. Right. Yeah, but Tour Guide in main phase 2 for the normal summon. That hand that Thomas Rose had, it was 2 BAs. He had evenly matched. He had, oh my god, like that was crazy.
Well, it was 3 BAs because we had to set up the
Beatrice.
Plus
Correct.
Tour Guide, plus evenly matched. The only scenario where he wins the game is if those original BA activations are allowed to resolve. I can't help but think this is a huge punt on the side of Mike.
Now, to be fair, it's not over. Raptite can still trigger,
not.
which is... Yeah, the fact that you can just use Raptite again if it manages to survive is pretty good. We're going to get Analyzer. Analyzer is going to allow us to go digging even further. And that's just what's so crazy about this Adamancipator deck, just allowing you to just continuously generate advantage through these effects. There's the Raptite. Raptite's going to get another draw here. So look at that. He went from, what, 2 cards to 5? Just from one single Raptite activation?
Not even from the draw, from a card that was already face up on field, and there's Savage Dragon. Rough.
That's
just an all-purpose boss to finish off your opponent.
Yeah, so Savage Dragon going to be able to negate effects at will here. Here comes another Adamancipator, so that's going to allow him to get a copy of Dodo Dwarf Go Glove, allow him to extend just a little bit further if he so wishes.
Have we
he's actually going to get... I don't think so. We have not.
So we can go from the Dodo Dwarf Go Glove into the Dodo Dwarf Go Glove, make more bosses. Yeah, this is extremely horrifying.
Ooh, wow. This is going to be I mean, Thomas Rose cleared the board once, but can he clear it a second time is the question.
Let's see the second evenly matched as the last card in hand.
I mean, to be fair, that could be a possibility. However, Savage Dragon is still a card here, so that would be able to negate it. So he'd have to bait that. Now comes the Union Carrier. Again, This is just
deep
insane.
is this combo? Are we actually playing? Oh, we're playing Block Dragon. Okay, something relevant.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so Union Carrier being able to equip Block Dragon to the Adamancipator Risen Raptite, so that way you can just trigger that when it hits the graveyard. Oh man, this is going to be crazy. It also gives it an extra 1,000 attack as well, being able to hit over the Dante. So we're going to see some triggers here. So we're going to see a Scarm trigger at the end phase, but Dante is going to trigger here, adding back the Seer.
Wow, and that's rough. I mean, I would at the very least consider negating it. Of course, you probably want to keep the negation live for the second evenly matched.
Yeah, considering evenly match has been all the reason why you've lost pretty much the first game and almost this game as well, I could definitely see the argument for keeping it up there. But End Phase Scarm's going to get Tour Guide. Remember, Tour Guide is no longer at 1, which is pretty cool. So just giving you another way to start off the turn here. We're going to start with Foolish Burial, though. This is huge because now we can get Farfa. Farfa can bait out the Borreload Savage Dragon, and then Tour Guide's going to be able to go off completely free.
Wow, just super reserved out of Mike. I mean, I would have shotgunned the end phase Scarm negation. I mean, what are you afraid of at that point? And preventing the Tour Guide from going to the hand means that if your opponent is able to bait your Boral Sword Savage negation, it's not that big of a deal because they don't have the necessary resources to pop off again. Whoa, this is a rough one.
This is. So Tour Guide coming down. We're going to see a free summon here. Tom taking a moment to think here. Going to go for Libic. That's going to be the Burning Abyss that special summons from hand when it hits Grave. Now we get to go into Cherubini, making its first appearance of the match because they actually have level 3s this time.
Yeah, without Cherubini, you could have actually thought this person was playing a theme deck from 2015. But no, Burning Abyss has a ton of new tools at its disposal, and Cherubini is one of the most powerful.
Yeah, Cherubini, arguably one of the strongest cards of like the past year, even though it really hasn't had its moment in the spotlight just because it's been completely overshadowed by so many other powerful threats. But it might be the reason that Thomas Rose is actually able to seal this one up here. Gonna special summon Calcab, and now we're gonna go for... What do you... Like, do you go for another Dante at this point? Yeah, you can just... just kind of clean up here.
I don't really know what the alternative is, unfortunately. Ooh, we hit a Scarm, though.
That's pretty good. I also think what's interesting about both of these decks is that they have a little bit of reliance on luck on the Excavation with your Adamancipator or Mill if you're Burning Abyss in this case.
Burning Abyss was milling off the top of the deck when Adamancipator was still a dream in the eye of Kevin Tewart.
All right, so now we get to go for a Link 4 Borreload Dragon. Okay,
Whoa.
I like this.
Hey, taking Savage is pretty sweet here.
I was about to say, if you take Savage Dragon, then that means you can negate anything that your opponent would do on the following turn.
It does remember it's been activated this turn, unfortunately, so we can't prevent the Block Dragon activation.
Right, but he'll get at least one activation on the following turn, and then it will get sent to the graveyard so that you don't have to deal with it on your following turn. We're going to hit over Union Carrier here for a pretty significant amount of damage, 2750 to be exact. And, yeah, I mean, wow, I've just been so impressed by the back and forth of this game. This is so great.
For what it's worth, I think Thomas is playing exceptionally well. Keeping this Block Dragon on as long as possible for the possibility of being able to negate it with Borreload Savage Dragon, finding the out in every individual instance with a deck that's clearly outclassed in terms of raw playmaking potential. I mean, Thomas is kind of playing out of his mind here.
To be fair, I mean, it's Thomas Rose, right? I mean, he's a champion.
I hear he's okay.
Yeah, I hear he's an okay player. So we're going to hit the Raptite. Keep in mind, this Raptite is activated 3 times now, Joseph.
And the reservation on Thomas, he knows that the way he's going to win this game is not by negating the Raptite effect and hoping his opponent doesn't have a play starter. Of course they do in their 2-card hand. It's by negating powerful plays like the Block Dragon, which he'll now have the chance to do if this card doesn't have an on-field effect.
All right, so here comes the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. This is a way that Block Dragon could actually resolve here, because now if Thomas used Borreload Savage Dragon to negate Block Dragon, Crystal Wing could negate it. Wow, just the back and forth, just the counter punch after counter punch has been crazy.
All right, so and now it looks like Block Dragon will resolve. Oh boy, here we go.
This is going to be rough. So here comes Doki Doki now, being able to get out a copy of Adamancipator Researcher, being special summoned off of its own effect. And now here we go, digging some more. It looks like we whiffed.
Wow. Well, this late in the game, that can happen, but still frustrating to see if you're Mike.
I mean, again, you still have got 2 monsters to work with here. You can go for a Cerberus. I mean, Cerberus can take out the Savage. You can't take out the Borreload Dragon, but I mean, I think you're okay with that considering Crystal Wing could, like, crash into it if you absolutely, had to resort to that.
It's not necessarily true. Something that people found out when Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon was the boss to beat and suddenly Borreload was released is that Borreload matches up extremely well versus Crystal Wing. It can target it, remove the 500 attack, and then because it doesn't have a level, Crystal Wing won't get a bonus.
Oh,
as a result,
you're right.
It's fantastic at dispatching with this board exactly. The only horrifying monster remaining is the Savage.
Wow. So now we're going to see Unicorn here, though. So Unicorn is going to be able to take care of the Savage Dragon here. But again, we might be seeing exactly what you just talked about, unless we're going to see another summon of Block Dragon and then another Link play here.
I mean, I don't know what Link play you would go into with 5 cards in your extra deck that would out a Borreload Dragon.
And so, this might be exactly what you're talking about. So maybe he's unaware of the interaction with Crystal Wing, but we might just see a Borreload effect here because Crystal Wing was probably already used to negate the activation. But that's it!
Well,
Crystal
notably,
Wing got
you can't respond to the 500 attack point decrease.
Absolutely, yeah. So that puts Crystal Wing down to 2,500, and because it's also an effect that reduces damage, I believe you can also use that in damage step as well?
It is true. It is an extremely annoying effect.
Right, so that actually was a huge misstep from Michael here, and it could be the reason that Thomas Rose might be able to walk away with this one.
Oh my gosh, and now we get to go for Dante again off of the normal summon Seer. We can go ahead and take this copy of Block Dragon, walk over the Nightmare Unicorn. Dante gets in directly, and Thomas is in a commanding position. Mike went first. That set card can't be evenly matched. Oh my gosh.
To be fair, I think we did see evenly matched off of an excavation from Mike a little bit earlier on.
Oh, did we? Oh my gosh.
I think we did.
The long game. Yeah, Super Polymerization, aiming to go either first or second.
I can't believe he's playing Super Poly in this deck, too, considering how many cards you need to play in this Adamancipator extra deck. But then again, he's playing Barkion and Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, so who knows?
But see, right now, he's not able to flex into powerful Synchro bosses that are 6s, that are 8s. He's forced to go into extremely non-streamlined ones, just because I think a significant portion of his extra deck is stuck on these fusion summonable monsters and mid-tier Synchro utility one-ofs.
Even though Thomas Rose has been playing this to the best of his ability, and even though there have been a few missteps here from Mike, though, I mean, look at the gas that this deck has. I mean, it seems like every single turn has just been able to pump out consistently more and more threats for Thomas Rose to deal with, and yet he's still been able to just wade those off to the point where he might be able to squeak out of this one. But, I mean, you see, now we have a Raptite hitting another Analyzer. That's going to trigger Analyzer now. This deck just keeps going. See, look, there was an evenly matched right there. So that set card could have very well been just a card that could have sealed Thomas Rose's fate, but luckily for him, it was not.
Yeah, one of the rough parts about playing evenly matched in this deck is the Automata on board is always going to make it slightly worse when you're going for it past turn 1. But from this position, I think Mike is just trying not to die.
Right, absolutely. And facing down Borreload Dragon with not the adequate resources to deal with it, I mean, this could be it right here. I mean, we saw the Fiendish Rhino Warrior off the top for Thomas Rose. That allows him to get all of his BAs onto the field without fear of destruction because he controls a non-BA. Going for Leviair, talk about throwbacks.
Wow, Leviair is so insane here. It gets back Graph, and immediately he's got the material necessary for any big Link boss he so desires.
Right, so Phoenix is just going to clean up the back row just in case he fears. Oh, and it's a Farfa in hand. This is huge. It was a set evenly matched. Oh,
whoa,
my God.
Why wasn't that activated?
Was the Savage Dragon still up?
Oh, no. The Savage Dragon was long gone.
That was gone. Wow.
Oh, you know what it might have been? He might not have wanted to banish his own Block Dragon.
Oh, because it was in Thomas Rose's possession at that point?
Yeah, wow.
Wow, okay. But here we go, and now this should be a lethal attack. Borreload can go in for the Raptite, and then that's it! Thomas Rose manages to beat Adamancipator with Burning Abyss. Incredible.
I am shaking. I mean, Thomas played out of his mind. He's obviously an extremely good player, but watching him wield a deck that has such a diminished playmaking capacity against one of the most powerful playmakers in the format and coming out ahead, I mean, whoa.
Incredible. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video for the Crush Card Cup. We got plenty more coming, and we'll see you in the next one.